This is our 14th year, believe it or not, doing this. And it's really turned into an event here. It's almost like a reunion where people get to see each other. They haven't seen each other in years. And so it's turned out to be a real nice thing that we do every year. I do want to acknowledge our committee because we work at it really hard. When this banquet is over, we'll start preparing for next year's banquet. And they put in a lot of time and effort to make this a nice evening for everybody. So when I call your name, would you please stand to be recognized? This is our Hall of Fame committee. Richard Diltz. Bill Cheer. Bill Cheer. Nancy Dombrowski. Tony Despotakis. Also on our committee and one of the inductees this evening, George Argros. Sue Hartford. Sue puts this wonderful program together every year, just so you know that. Melissa Schaefer. Anthony Nicholas. Diane Haney. Dan Albert. Frank Murray could not be here tonight, he is ill. Also Joe Zaccanini, who's on the committee, who could not attend tonight. And John Peterman, who's the athletic director, could not attend tonight. So that's our committee. Okay, our first inductee is a gentleman who has served very well on our committee for years. He was one of our original members. And he was a Kiski area graduate. As a matter of fact, everybody who we're honoring tonight are Kiski area graduates. The inductees are Bill Miller Award winner is a Kiski area graduate. The wrestlers that we're honoring tonight are all Kiski area graduates. So they all got a good foundation for their education and went on to bigger and better things in life. And George is one of those. George is from the class of 1970. He has coached both the girls and boys cross-country teams and the boys and girls track teams for many years at Kiski area. In cross-country, he had a combined record of 221 wins and 48 losses. And if you don't remember anything else about George, I will tell you this. George is the only coach in the history of Kiski area school district that won a team state championship. We've never had team state championships except when George coached two of our girls cross-country teams in 95 and 96 to the PIAA state championships. George is the only coach to ever do that. In track and field, he coached many boys and girls teams who won both WPIAL and PIAA medals. In 92, his teams finished 4th into WPIAL and 13th at the state level. In 93, they were 4th again at the WPIAL and 10th at the state level. In 94, WPIAL 3rd place, state was 6th. 95 and 96, he won the WPIAL both of those years and the state championships both of those years. And in 97, his team finished 2nd in the WPIAL and 10th at the state level. Ladies and gentlemen, George Argros.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the committee for inducting me into the Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. You know, these 4 ladies up here, I had them all in class. I didn't coach them. I tried to coach one of them. It's for another day. Kiski area has been blessed with a lot of great coaches that have cared about the kids they coached. Not about the final results, but about the kids they coached. And I have been around those people my whole life, and they've had a great impact on me and how I coached. I'd like to thank them for their efforts. Any of you folks in here that have coached at Kiski area, thank you. I began coaching track at Washington Junior High School many years ago and didn't know anything about coaching. I coached under Bob Burberg for my first year, and then under Dave Grimm. I was an assistant coach for both those guys, and they got me off to a great start. They showed me how to lead kids, and they cared about the kids that they coached, and I thank them. After teaching moved to the high school, I became an assistant varsity track coach. And I coached under Bill Hawley and Ralph Antonucci. Great men that taught me again how to lead kids. Both of those guys are Hall of Famers. So I had a great start in coaching. This induction has allowed me to look back and reflect on all that I've experienced in coaching. And I have had a lot of fun. I enjoyed the good times, and believe me, I've enjoyed some of the bad times too. Back in 1987, Mr. Diltz took a chance on me and hired me as the head boys and girls cross-country coach. I don't know why, but he took a chance. Right from the first practice, my job was made a lot easier because I had kids that were very cooperative. I had parental support that was very strong and very positive. And this allowed the teams to be successful. Not for what I did, but for their cooperation and the parents' positive influence. My induction today is due to the cooperation and hard work of the athletes and the support of their families. Over the many years of coaching cross-country and track, and this might sound a little offbeat here, but I have really leaned on managers. Managers kept me going. Managers kept all my statistics, which I have boxes full in the basement, of every workout that every athlete did for me throughout my whole coaching career. Every interval work, every split into 2 mile. Anybody knows anyone who wants to know those statistics? Give me a call. I have them. And for the hard work and dedication of those managers allowed me to interact more with the athletes and to understand what they wanted and what they needed even better. So, and I don't think there's any of my managers here tonight, but I thank them. They were important to me. Athletic directors were great leaders in our district, and we've had a bunch of great athletic directors that have helped me and made my job a lot easier throughout the years. As you saw in the bulletin, I was a head cross-country coach for many years, but I also took over the head girls track job and the boys track job when it was needed. Not that I really wanted to do that, but when it was needed, we did that. And the coaches that worked with me, not for me, but with me, were instrumental in the success of those teams. A special guest tonight that I want to acknowledge is Dr. George Vajonas. It makes me very happy that he is here tonight. He has been a supporter of mine since I was very young, and somebody that I admire greatly, and I'd like you to give him a round of applause. I'd like to thank my family and the friends that I have here that came special to support me tonight in this very important evening. You saw my two granddaughters up here singing, and I knew nothing about that. My family doesn't keep secrets very well, so I was very shocked. Earlier today, I attended my granddaughter's first cross-country meet. I was very proud of her, so that makes me very happy, the fact that they were singing here today. And I have all four of my grandchildren here today. That's important to me. Family is very important. Okay, let's wrap this up. To the person that's been with me since our junior prom at Kiski area. My wife for 45 years. I thank you for raising two wonderful children. I couldn't do what I did in coaching if she wasn't taking care of business at home, because that's a lot of hours away from the house. Patty, you've made a positive impact on me and helped me become the person that I am since we've been together since the age of 16. I would say we grew up together. None of this would be possible without you, and I love you, and I thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead. Okay. These are the plaques that they are receiving tonight. Congratulations.
Okay. Our next inductee is a gentleman who was from the class of 1968, graduated in 1968. He earned 2 varsity letters in football and track and field. In football, he played both offense and defense and was an all-conference selection. In track and field, he held the school record in the triple jump and high jump for many, many years. He later went on to police work as a state policeman and did a great job there as well. Our second inductee, Mr. Ron Booker.
I won't take long. I just want to thank the committee for voting me in. I want to thank God for giving me this day. I want to thank especially my family and friends for supporting me all these years. And it's so great to see some old friends I haven't seen 40 years. It's just been a wonderful experience, and thank you. I want to thank the committee, and congratulations to my fellow inductees. Thank you.
Okay. Our third inductee is one of our younger inductees. She is from the class of 2008. That's not a slide there, fellas. Lauren had quite an accomplished career here at Kiski. She earned 10 varsity letters in volleyball, basketball, tennis, and track and field. In volleyball, she was an all-district selection her senior year. In basketball, she was the first team all-district selection her senior year. In track and field, she set the school record in the javelin and earned 6th and 9th place medals at the state meets in 2007 and 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Butler.
Good evening, everybody. I am so incredibly honored and blessed to be able to be here today to accept this award. I would like to thank the committee and congratulate all of my fellow inductees. It's really, really cool to see some former teammates and people who lived in my neighborhood, so this is really fun. I am so grateful that my family is here and that this induction class is full of, like I said, my former teammates and coaches and teachers. I've been a member of many teams, but tonight this is a very, very special team that I'm joining. There are so many members of my different teams that I need to thank and deserve so much credit for my ability to be standing here in front of you this evening. To my parents, I owe you guys everything. I'm so grateful, and there's nothing I could ever do or say to repay you for the sacrifices you have made to give me an incredible life and provide me with such unbelievable experiences and opportunities. Thank you for always supporting me, loving me, encouraging me to be whatever it is that I want to be. Having two parents who believed in me and my dreams has enhanced my life in ways I couldn't understand until I've become an adult, and I am so grateful. To my sister, my best friend, you have challenged me in so many ways, like literally challenged me. You've pushed me out of my comfort zone, and you've elevated me to be the person I am today. I couldn't have done so many things without you, and I am so appreciative of how close our relationship has become. My entire family, all of you who have chosen to be here with me to celebrate tonight, and those who couldn't be here for various reasons, thank you so much. Thank you all for showing me one of the most important things that we can do in life is to show up for one another. Literally being here is one of the best things that you guys have done for me for my entire life, and I'm so appreciative. To all my coaches, teammates, teachers, I have been blessed to be surrounded by incredibly supportive groups throughout my life. My coaches who have constantly encouraged me to work hard and put forth my best effort. My teammates who I've bonded with and who I wanted to win for more than I wanted to win for myself. My teachers who challenged me academically, all while keeping up with my athletic endeavors. Thank you all. It is rare to remember the usually brief moments that change the course of your life forever. I can't remember my first attempt at shooting a basketball or even my first try at a volleyball pass, but being an athlete has been the most organic and influential part of my life. What I can remember is the very first attempt of throwing a javelin. At 15 years old, I had absolutely no idea that that single throw at a random practice I wasn't supposed to be at was going to change my life in ways I couldn't imagine. It would allow and encourage me to attend one of the best colleges in the country, take me to cities across the United States for national championship meets, and elevate me to become an All-American athlete, all things that I never dreamed of were possible. I am so appreciative of all the athletic opportunities, and to those who have never ceased to support me along my journey. I have been encouraged to take risks, to embrace unexpected opportunities, and to become a leader who not only believes in herself, but is strong and confident in her decisions and beliefs. While I may not be throwing a javelin anymore or going to state championship meets, I now work every single day as an athletics administrator, encouraging and challenging other high school students to embrace the opportunities that they have, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you all so much for having me here this evening. It means a lot to me and my family to be welcomed back to where it all began. Thank you so much.
You know, I don't read everything that they send in, but on her plaque, just so you know, besides the fact that she earned 10 varsity letters, she was volleyball captain, first team all-district in 2008, basketball captain 2008 MVP. She participated in the Cager Classic in 2008, basketball first team all-district, track and field captain 2008 and MVP, WPL second place javelin 2007, WPL champion javelin 2008. 2007 at the state meet she was sixth place in the javelin, 2008, she was 9th in the javelin at the state level. 2-time district champion, she held the school record in the javelin from 2008 through 2010. And of course, she went on to Allegheny College, 4-year varsity athlete, 3-year captain, 3-time All-American. Quite an accomplishment for Lauren Butler. Okay, before we go to our next inductee, we do this every year. We love it when former inductees come back for our banquets, and this year we have a nice turnout of inductees, so I'd like to recognize them as well. So please stand when your name is called so you can be recognized. Richard Diltz. Anthony Nicholas. Melissa Schaefer. Chuck Tursky. Jack Dykes. Nancy Dombrowski. Rick Hobbins. Mark Rayberg. Jim Valera. Tommy Giotto. Ken Robinson. Don Toy. Joe Bushofsky. This gentleman came, and he's standing up for his brother, who we recognized or honored, was it last year, Kenny?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay. Kenny Donaldson, please stand. Blaze Tatnanny. Mike Hansen. Dean Yancey. Tony Colecci. Did I miss anybody? I got them all? Well, again, we always thank you for coming. It's a great honor to have you guys here. Some of them have never missed a banquet, and so we hope you keep coming back every year. And that goes for you folks too who are being inducted tonight. We hope you come back in future years to our banquet. Okay, our next inductee is from the class of 1975. Frank earned 4 varsity letters in football and track and field. In football, Frank played at the Big 33 football game and was a UPI second team selection. In track and field, Frank medaled in the shot put and discus at various track meets. He later went on to West Virginia University on a football scholarship. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Gaddis.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee and congratulations to all my fellow inductees. Every now and then life gives you an opportunity to say thank you. And I have some pretty serious gratitude to give out tonight. In order to understand my gratitude, I have to tell you a little bit about my story. My story is going to have a military kind of theme to it because I was born and raised in the military. My father was a career man in the United States Air Force. So I'm going to start with my story, and as I go, I'm going to make several stops to hand out the gratitude that these people so richly deserve, these people who made me. By the time I was 16 years old, I had been back and forth from coast to coast 6 times. By the time I had graduated high school, I attended 11 different schools. When I was 12 years old, my father got orders to serve in Vietnam, which he did. And he told my sister and I that he was not in harm's way. When he returned a year later, he returned with medals for heroism under fire. Dad, I've met the men who credit you with saving their lives, and you served our country wonderfully. I am so proud to be the son of an American hero. Mom, you're the unsung hero. You're the strong woman who feels that pain in her gut every day, not knowing that your husband is coming home while he's away serving our country in a war zone. You live with a subtle fear that you hope that the officer and the chaplain never show up at your door. And fortunately for us, he never did. During the years that Dad was away at war, you were both mother and father. You were there every step of the way. You were from that generation that was there when I came home from school every day. You were there at every single game that Dad couldn't be at because he was serving our country. You were there. Thank you for being my mother. I will love you forever. When I was 14 years old, Dad got shipped out again overseas to Thailand to serve our country in Thailand again, and I landed in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania. Now, my dad told my sister and I he was not in harm's way. Once again, I did not believe him. So I wanted to do something that would make my dad proud, so he would come home from war. And I heard that he was a football player. So I thought, okay, I'll play football. Then Dad will be proud and he will come home. During my 9th grade year, that was a tough year because Dad was gone a second time and chances of making it home are not as good the second time around. During that year, I carried with me, I was a little older and I carried with me a little bit of fear, and I had a coach, Coach Wicks. Where are you, Coach? Where are you? I want you to know that when I was a little boy, and my dad wasn't there, you were there. And I looked up to you like you wouldn't believe. And the fact that you were such a good coach and such an outstanding human being and such a great role model got me through. And I gotta thank you tonight. Thank you for being the man you were in my life and being a manly man for me. Thank you, just thank you so much. So full of gratitude. On from there, Dad came home. And then I got to play in the big leagues with these 3 crazy coaches that I had watched in 10th grade. One of them carried a paddle, and he carried a chain. And I wasn't afraid of the paddle. I'd been spanked a lot in school, but I was afraid of that chain. Now, Dad, I didn't realize that was his comedy act. Now, Dad still wasn't home. Because he didn't come home and finish his career until the last game of my 11th grade year. So he still wasn't there, but my coaches were. Coach Murray, Coach Diltz, and Coach Nick. I want you to know I looked up to you so much, and I thank you for being there from the bottom of my heart. I am so grateful that I landed at Kiski area and had such strong men to guide me through, because I was going down the wrong path, I think, a little bit. In my years, when you're the new kid in school, you get to beat the bullies up, and I liked that very much. So it was getting to be a habit with me, and they took that violence inside of me and they put it in the right place. Thank you very much, and I want you to know that I've taken all the lessons that you taught me all those years and I put them straight into business. And the lessons that I learned on the gridiron are very good for business. I want you to know that. Thank you for being there for a kid whose father couldn't always be there, who was serving his country. And thank you for the memories.
Wasn't that a moving speech? Very moving. When you hear these people speak, you realize why they're being recognized and honored by us. And again, thank you, Frank. Before we go to our next award, I do want to recognize a couple other people as well. We appreciate them being here. The first gentleman is a former superintendent of the Kiski Area School District. Please stand, Dr. Stephen Back. The assistant superintendent of schools, formerly Dr. George Vajonas. And also one of our former administrators who's now retired, did a great job while she was at Kiski, Dr. Mary Ann Hazer. Okay, our next award, which is the Bill Miller Community Service Award, will be given by Tony Despotakis. Tony, would you step forward?
Hi, everybody. You know, when people from Kiski area get together, you can't help but think of Mr. Miller. I had the good fortune of being a friend of his and his family, and this is a great, great award. This year we're giving it to Michael Narduzzi, who was a key statistician for Coach Diltz, as well as a few other of the football coaches. And really, without his work of keeping the statistics, we wouldn't be sitting here right now, I don't think. So he also was the statistician for basketball under Larry Rupert and Sam Manchuri. Did a great job. He was part of the WPIAL 1971 championship team. And I'd like to introduce Michael Narduzzi for the William K. Miller Spirit Award.
Hold that mic.
Good evening. It's been a while since I did this, so just hang in there with me. First of all, I want to congratulate all the inductees. All of you earned this, every one of you. Stated in the Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame vision statement from the opening of the Kiski Area School District in 1962, athletics have been an integral part of the lives of many families and individuals in our communities. During my lifetime, I've had the honor and privilege of being affiliated with Kiski Area Sports for more than 45 years. Tonight, I want to offer my sincere and humble thanks to the Hall of Fame Committee for recognizing me as the 2019 recipient of the William K. Miller Community Service Award. I also want to raise a glass. If you guys have any glasses at the table, just raise it. To this year's Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame inductees. Through your example, both on and off the field, you have demonstrated what it means to be a Kiski Area Cavalier. The highlight of my experience at Kiski was being affiliated with the 1971 WPIL Championship football team. Through this experience, I made many lifelong friends and was mentored by some great coaches such as Mr. Giltz and his staff. This experience gave me so many great memories that I cherish deeply to this day. In closing, I just want to say thank you again for presenting me with this award. Those of us who knew Mr. Miller remember him for his love of education, sports, his community and family, and the Big K. Thank you.
It's good.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, before we do our next recognition, I just, when you listen to these speeches, they're always talking about, all of them have mentioned their surroundings, and how important it was to realize what your surroundings, what's around you, especially today in our society. This brief story I'm going to tell you right now deals with knowing your surroundings. There were three religious men who were very good friends over the years. One was a Jewish rabbi, one was a Protestant minister, and the third was a Catholic priest. And they became very good friends, confided in each other, and one day they went out fishing together and started to confide in each other. And while they were out fishing, they decided to tell their deepest sin, their most outrageous sin they ever committed in their lives. And the Jewish rabbi started first by saying, "My greatest sin is money. I love money, I crave money, and I try to get as much money as I possibly can." The Protestant minister said, "I love money too, but I like to hide my money and try to keep it away from the government so I don't pay my taxes." The Catholic minister said, Catholic priest said, "My greatest sin is I'm a gossip. I love to gossip about people, and since I've heard these two stories, I can't wait to get to land to spread the word about these two stories I just heard." Beware of your surroundings. Okay, next we have, we're honoring the 2016-2017 Kiski area wrestling team. And before I call them up, just so you know, Chris and Chuck have done some amazing things with this program. They have now won the WPL championship 3 years in a row, which is unheard of. And I'm biased when I say this, but I think we have the best wrestling program in the state of Pennsylvania right now. And that's not, the schools that recruit, and we know the schools recruit, we don't count those schools because Kiski area doesn't recruit, and they've done an outstanding job. Anyways, I got to meet several of these fellas today and yesterday on the phone, very polite. I'm so appreciative that they were going to be recognized at the banquet tonight, and we're glad they're here. They kind of epitomize what we try to do here. They bought into the system that Chuck and Chris started, and they set the tone, and these kids have bought into it for years and years and years. The program has been extremely successful. All 6 of these gentlemen, young gentlemen I should say, are now in college. They work hard, they're working hard in school, and they're going to come out, I'm sure they're going to be outstanding citizens as well. So I do want to congratulate Chris and Chuck and Donnie and some of the other coaches that have worked with them for many years. So they're going to give out the awards tonight, so please come forward, Chris and Chuck.
Guys from the team, will you come on up? Before I start with just a little bit about these guys and our team, from the wrestling program, we would like to congratulate all the inductees tonight for your selection into the Kiski Area Hall of Fame. What a great honor, and it's nice to see some of you that were students, haven't seen you for a while. Mr. Argros, he's been around forever. Before I get into that, I'd be remiss if I didn't share a little story about Mr. Argros. I started teaching 29 years ago at Kiski area, and I had study hall and lunch duty with Mr. Argros. And when he came up, he spoke about how important it was that he was surrounded by good people and had good people to learn from. And I still remember, being in the cafeteria and study hall duty and hanging out with him. And at that time, it was 29 years ago, so I had not a really good mustache, but I had a mustache then. And I still remember George telling me at one point that I didn't have a nice mustache. And I was like, so here I am as a young guy, and I'm trying to learn from this guy, and he's like killing me on my mustache. And so still to this day, I'm super proud of him and all that he's accomplished as a teacher and as a coach. But every time I think of him, I always just think of him telling me how bad my mustache was when I was 22 years old. So, George, congratulations on being inducted.
You're looking good, Chris.
I cleaned it up a little bit just so you wouldn't hit me, Mike, all right? Thank you.
You know what? He's probably looking at Donnie's mustache. And then, how are you going to beat that? How are you going to beat that?
Well, I'm not going to say anything about Tony's mustache. That thing should be in a Hall of Fame by itself.
You're my corner. Yeah.
Before I get into some things about the team, I'm just going to recognize the guys that are up here and then go through a few things with you. Representatives from our 2016-2017 WPL championship team. That year during the championship, we had sophomore Colin Murray. Colin, just put your hand up. We had senior Tom Starr. We had junior Isaac Reed. We had junior Danny Starr and senior Matt Sisko. These guys are here to represent the 2016-2017 team. We're all getting the message at the same time. As our wrestling program, we want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for honoring our team tonight, obviously. One of the things that Coach Tursky and I are most proud of with the teams that we get to coach each year is how talented our group of guys are. And they continue to provide us with a lot of success. And these guys were a special group that year. Our sport is unique because of the brotherhood that is developed between teammates and coaches. We feel very fortunate to still have such good relationships with our guys. It's one of the blessings of being a coach. Anybody that's coached for a long time will tell you that later in time when you get to kind of reminisce back with your athletes, and it's great to still have, down the road, it's still great to have such nice relationships with these guys. And it's only been 3 years, so a lot of these guys are just kind of getting on their way, but we're very, very pleased and very, very proud to have relationships with these guys past our program. The 2016-17 wrestling season was only my second year as the head coach after serving as an assistant for 24 years. This was the third WPL championship team in school history, and this was the first, as Mr. Nicholas mentioned, this was the first of 3 WPL championships in a row. I want to thank the coaches and wrestlers for all that they did that year, and
the accomplishments that came with it. It's such a great group of young men, and some of the accomplishments as a team that year. We were county champs. We won the Southwest Regional Championship. We were section champs with a 7-0 record. We were WPIL champs with a 19-0 record. We finished third in the state with a 24-1 record. Our only loss that year was in the quarterfinals to the team that won the state title. Special thanks to our coaches. It's a privilege for me to be the head coach right now and to be able to still coach with Chuck Tursky, who's a Hall of Fame coach. He's in this Hall of Fame and about every other Hall of Fame that exists. Donnie Toy, also a member of this Hall of Fame. And our success continues because our staff has stayed together. And all the experience that we're able to bring to the table, along with the other young coaches that join us and work with us day in and day out through our seasons. So I'm very blessed and very thankful for the coaching staff that we have. I'd also like to thank our athletic director, John Peterman, not able to be here tonight and stuff, but John was just new to our school and has really been a great addition to Kiski area athletics. Two of our seniors that are here tonight from that team would like to say a few things.
Well, I don't have anything prepared. Kind of learned about this last minute, but I do want to say thank you to the school, obviously, the committee, everyone here, all the supporters. Kiski Wrestling, we've always had a winning culture and a culture based on brotherhood and commitment and consistency and just competing and winning, and the support from everyone coming to matches and articles in the paper and things around school. It makes us want to go out and do that. It makes us want to go out and win and be good and do it for each other and do it for the school. And I couldn't be happier with the 4 years I had at Kiski Wrestling. And even that 2016-2017 season was a pretty special one. But when I look back on it, it really was not all that much different than my previous 3 years. We were always tough, and there's just as many memories from each of those years as I have from winning that Whitfield championship. And I think that's pretty special that the consistency and year after year after year, and since I've graduated, we've won 2 more, and it just keeps going, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm really happy to be here, and thank you.
Yeah, so, we can't thank you enough for this great honor and this great recognition. I know for me and for a bunch of the other teammates, the 2016-2017 year was really a fantastic and special one. Really could not have done it without all the great coaches, parents, and teachers, during that time that really helped to push us, prepare us, and just kind of help us build our own characters to who we are today. So definitely huge thank you to all of you and them. But yeah, that specific year, we actually had a theme. It was called the Band of Brothers, and that really could not have held more true, despite even having a real brother on the team. But we'd walk into the wrestling room each day, and it wouldn't be just walking into a team. It would be walking into a real special kind of family, one that we enjoyed to be around, and really one that helped to push us to be the very best that we could. And so this special bond that we all had was really a result of doing this throughout the years. I mean, this team has been together since early elementary days, and kind of seeing where it went with the help of everyone in our lives was certainly special, and we truly want to thank you for that. And being recognized for this and always having this team be listed among those names will always bring back such great and fond memories, and we are especially appreciative of that. So thank you very much.
Let's get a picture here with everybody.
Yeah.
This is your.
Donnie, I have one for Can you get them all? Ed? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, our next inductee is from the class of 1969. Joe earned 4 varsity letters in football and track and field. He played receiver and defensive back in 1968 on the team that finished runner-up in the WPL championship game. In track and field, Joe competed in the 440 mile relay team and 2-mile relay team. At Slippery Rock University, Joe competed in the 440, 880 mile relay and the 2-mile relay. Joe also went on to be an educator and coach many sports at Kiski area, or Derry area school district for many years. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Giotto.
Thanks, Tony. I'd like to thank the committee for including me in this year's induction class. I was truly humbled when I was notified, and obviously truly honored. I've sat where you guys are, and been in a number of inductions, and just phenomenal the accomplishments that you hear here. And I was a little bit surprised that I was included, but then after going through my career, I figured, you know what? I'm included. I should be included. I'd like also to congratulate the other inductees. I mean, you read through their resumes. I was just talking to the girls, and they're exceptional. I made 2 observations about the inductees. One, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but I noticed when I read the write-up that was in the Valley Tribune Review, that we have a modern era group of inductees, and we have a senior era inductees. So if you can't figure out which one's the modern era, then you better get your eyes checked. I think even though Ronnie Booker was a year ahead of me, okay, I think I am older than him because my parents held me back in 9th grade. When's your birthday, Ron?
49, April 49.
April 49, you got me by a month, okay? And the other neat thing, other than the modern era, senior era, was I was teammates with Ron Booker with football, and George Ogras, Ron Booker and myself were teammates on the 68 track and field team. Now on the football team, Ronnie was my mentor because he was a year ahead of me, even though we were in different positions. But I think there was occasions also when he beat on me. Right? And in doing that, he made me tougher. So I thank him. Okay. And George and I and Ron were on a track team together, a 68 team, each of us in senior, junior, sophomore class. And that was one heck of a track team. I was telling Jack Dykes and Ronnie Booker. Jack remembered. Ronnie did. I had to refresh Ron's memory, okay, a little bit. But we were 11-0 that season, 68 season. We were Westmoreland County champions, and that's pretty special. That team, there's 18 events in track and field, and that team was strong in every event. That's very seldom does that happen. And if they would have had WPL team playoffs then as they do now, I think we'd have had a great shot at being WPL champions. Ronnie was at tops, 47-foot triple jumper, 22+ foot long jumper, okay, and Jack Dykes, we carried some nice place winnings in the weight events, and we had a tremendous team. I'd like to thank all of you for coming, especially those that are here on my behalf, and a lot of you are here for multiple inductees. My wife, Marie's here with me. She's my biggest fan. I'm her biggest fan. I love her dearly. She never saw me compete, but she's still my biggest fan, okay? And I hers. My brother Tom's here with his wife Sandy. My brother Eugene is here with, Tom is the class of 72, 71 football team. Eugene's the class of 79, 78 football team. My brother Eugene's son Jake's here. He's a sophomore. Dickinson is on the lacrosse team. And I tell my brother Eugene that, Euge, I think Jake turned out to be a better athlete than you were, okay? But he doesn't disagree. But when I tell Tom that Eugene was a better athlete than what he was, Tom disagrees, but I do it just to jab him. I have other family members here. The Mileys are here. My cousins on my mom's side. And I'm really appreciative that they came. I have the Ballases here from Indiana, close friends. My neighbors and close friends are here. Mark and Mary Jane Boynton. And get this, Mark grew up in Kiski. Mary Jane grew up in Apollo. I grew up in Vandergrift Heights, and we're neighbors together almost next door in Derry, PA. So we traveled. Also, my lifesaver in Kenny Robinson, which is at table 10. Okay, he's one of my teammates. I'll talk about them in a minute. My lifesaver in Kenny Robinson's lifesaver is here, Mr. John Boynton. And if you can stand for a minute, John, you're not going to stand, okay? He's a humble guy, but in January of 1969, Kenny and I were in a bad automobile accident driving in Fort City, and John was just home from Vietnam a day, am I right, John? 3 days. And he was up at the field office in Katanning, and we were on our way to Fort City to see my younger brother Tom play basketball. And John saw this car off the side of the road in a ditch, and he was the first one at the scene, am I correct? And obviously got the rescue people there and pulled us out. He saved our lives. Am I right, Ken? Yeah, he saved our lives. 50 years later, here we are. Okay, so. None of us reach successes or achieve on our own. You know, whether it's great teammates, great coworkers, great coaches, great supervisors, it takes a number of people for you to be successful. And I was surrounded by great teammates, great coaches. I'll talk about the coaches in a little bit, but great teammates. We had a little bit of talent on our team, the 68 team. I thought our 67 team, which we were juniors, had a lot more talent on it. But we had some talent, but we had a bunch of guys that worked their butt off, that were coachable, that knew what their keys were on defense and responded and just knew our assignments on offense. And we came together. And I used to joke with Kenny Robinson that Denny Booker, if you ever heard any stories about Denny Booker, how many of you heard stories about Denny Booker? Okay, we called him heavy duty because he put us on his shoulders and he could carry the mail, but he could carry the ball like no one. All right, but he wouldn't have gone anywhere without us. So we were together. But you know, we just evolved, and we ended up 9-0. We went into the exhibition game. I say we were a good team. We weren't a great team because we didn't get it all. And we lost to Greensburg Central 18-14 last game of the regular season, and we got knocked off by Latrobe in the WPL playoffs. We were the first team to represent Kiski area in the WPL playoffs, WPL finals at Forbes Field. You know, unfortunately, the 64 team and the 67 team the year before myself, our team, they were as good, but the Gardner point system kept them out. You know, so they were something else. But my teammates that I just talked that were here, Greg Barberia, just pop up for a minute, Greg. Greg Barberia was our inside linebacker. He had a great nose for the ball. And he is probably ranked in the top 7, 8 in solo and team tackles. Okay, he was as a linebacker, the top linebacker until Scott McKillop came along and Hobbins came along and they bumped him. But Scott McKillop played for the 49ers, so go figure, okay? And for the longest time, Jack Dykes was the leading tackler. Am I correct, Jack? Yeah, so our quarterback, who was our leader, great leader, Ken Robinson's here. He's a former inductee. Please stand, Ken. Pop up there for a minute, wherever you are. And our wide receiver, Carl Toy, he had the best hands on the team. Carl, pop up for a minute, will you? He had the best hands on the team. And I was the defensive halfback, he was the safety, no one got behind us. Okay, and we weren't the fastest, but they still didn't get behind us, okay? We made mistakes, missed a few tackles, but, so it's just great to remember them and have them here with me. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my parents. Wow, you know, my brothers and I were blessed to have great parents. They were loving, devoted parents that they poured everything into us, you know, and just they had us on the right track. If we got off, we weren't off very long. We were back on it. A few people were here. Jim Fudel knew my dad very well. So, yeah, if you knew my dad, if you look on the program where my picture is, my dad is a member of the Charlie Club. His picture's there, and you'll find him because I look like him. And my uncle Lou Miley was in there as well. Yeah, my mother was the one. They both encouraged us to get an education. But my mother was the one that, I think when I was a sophomore, she started saying, Joe, you're going to school. You better figure it out. When you graduate, you're going on to school. So you better figure out what you want to do. Didn't want to disappoint my mother, so I went to school. My dad was the one that encouraged us to get involved with athletics. I was with him all the time. I was the oldest. He took me to the golf course. He took me to the Sons of Italy, to the bocce for courts. You know, we always had the games on, so I became sports-minded. And I think he wanted us to have the opportunity that he didn't because of family situations when he was younger. And I think he realized the value and the qualities we gained from being involved in athletics. And he was right. You know, my dad was seldom wrong. He was right. Just quickly, I'll try to not take too much time. I can talk. You ask my brothers, I could talk for a long while. Ask my neighbor, Mark Voigt, said, Joe, you can BS with the best of them. Okay, so, am I right, Mark? So, anyway, I got involved in athletics. I was always out in the yard playing ball. We had a big yard. We played two-hand tag football that turned into tackle football. And we played, my brother Tom and I, our brother Eugene's too much younger than us, but it was Tom and I and John and Joe Stone. And then we always recruited another player or two. And our brother Tom went on and played at Penn State, as did Eugene, but Tom played at Penn State and was involved in 3 bowl games. And Joe Stone became a national champ at Pitt. Played with Tony Dorsett. So I like to think that I and John Stone had something to do with that, you know. I was always playing pickup games. They gravitated from my yard to the wheat field, which is now Kennedy Park. And basketball games gravitated from the alley ball to the hoop to the courts down by the tennis courts. And my dad would take me to the games as an 8th, 9th grader on Friday night games, and I was mesmerized. There was nothing like the Friday night lights, the football team coming out. And it was just, it was so impressive to me, even as an 8th, 9th grader. And I played 1 year of organized football prior to that, but I was just a runt, and so, you know, it didn't work. But I can remember standing on the hill with my dad watching the 64 team with John Voigt, JoJo Booker, Ronnie's brother, Billy Donaldson, Kenny's brother, Chuck Lutz, the Pileckis. I can remember that team like it was yesterday. And watching them, and I was impressed. I said, man, that would be neat. That would be neat to be down there. And that team was 10-0, didn't get into the WPL playoffs because of the Gardner point system. And they were just phenomenal. I can remember they ran 10 consecutive plays, no huddle. No one ran no huddle then, no one. And that just, I was impressed. So in 10th grade, my dad says, would you like to go out for football? So I went through the summer program, and I went out and I got knocked around. The first week of summer football practice, 3 days, 2 in pads, 1 in shorts. In the afternoon, you asked anybody that played, that wasn't an easy time. That was the toughest thing I ever did in my life. And I didn't think I was gonna make it. And at the end of the first week, I couldn't wait to get home because we stayed at the school. We slept on the floor. We ate cafeteria food. Now, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't monk's food, okay? And I just could not wait to get home, and I didn't want to go back, but I said, you know what, Joe, if you don't go back, you're going to crush your dad. And I couldn't disappoint my father. My father was my motivational coach. I never wanted to disappoint my father or my mother. So that's what motivated me, and it worked, okay? It worked. So really, track evolved for me from football. I wanted to get faster so I could stay on the field. And it just took off from there. I had an excellent track career. I mean, I worked hard, and I was very appreciative of the coaching I had. I mean, the coaching I had in Kiski area, it's unlike anywhere. I mean, it was the greatest coaching staff that I ever experienced or ever had been around, because I became a coach myself. My brother Tom referred to them as Hall of Fame coaches. We had Hall of Fame coaches. We had Hall of Fame coaches with Hall of Fame character who built Hall of Fame programs. Coach Diltz, Holly, Murray, Nicholas, they were top shelf. And I sort of gravitated to that. They became my role models. As a result, I went into education and coaching. I went to Slippery Rock, and I wanted to do for others what they did for me. I wanted to make a difference. And so they helped me fulfill my dreams. And I'm thankful to them forever. Very appreciative. So I thank them. I saw Coach Diltz tonight, and I started getting choked up. I said, Coach, I don't know if I can be able to make it through this speech. You know, he said, Joe, calm down. He said, calm down. So, in closing, I don't know if I consider myself in the same category as a lot of all inductees, but yeah, I guess I do. I'm proud of what I did. I worked hard. I paid the price. I left it all on the field and the track. And had so many memorable experiences. I had many proud moments, but my proudest moment was every time I put on that Kiski area football uniform and stepped on that field under the lights, especially at Davis Field. And when I put on that track singlet and stepped on that track, those were my proudest moments. And I'll never forget those. I always would tell, when we graduated, I told Kenny Robinson, and I still tell him to this day, I think Mark Voighton's heard this as well from me. Once a Cavalier, always a Cavalier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. When you get to my age, you start forgetting things here. I wanted to say this when the wrestlers were up here. Actually, it applies to everybody that's being honored tonight. Through hard work, you succeed, whether it be in athletics or jobs, whatever. And I found 2 quotes today before I came here that really apply. One was one of the most famous sports clips or quotes that was ever said. It was said by Vince Lombardi. It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up and into the game. And the second quote, this gentleman, who was so very famous, he missed over 9,000 shots playing basketball. He lost more than 300 games. He took the winning shot 27 times and missed at the end of a game. He said, I failed over and over again in my life, but I learned how to succeed. Michael Jordan. Okay, our next inductee is from the class of 2005. Lauren earned 9 varsity letters in track and field, basketball, and golf. Lauren competed at the PIAA meet in discus and shot put in 2004 and 2005. She won a medal in the discus at the state meet in 2005. In girls basketball, she was the leading rebounder and defensive player on the 2004 and 2005 team. At Penn State University, Lauren was an All-American in rowing. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 2005, Lauren Golubieski.
Thank you, Mr. Nicholas. Hi, everyone. To the Hall of Fame Committee, thank you for this honor and for your hard work to put together such a fantastic event. I would like to thank my parents and all the other teachers, coaches, and parents here who have shown up to yet another one of our sporting events. I would like to especially thank my parents who have supported me in so many ways. None of my success in sports, business, or life would be possible without their past and continued support. I'd also like to thank my coaches for their support and interest in cultivating my abilities. I'm so blessed to have been given the opportunity to pursue sports throughout my life. What started at home with my parents flourished at Kiski through golf, basketball, and track and field, through to college with rowing at Penn State, and then master's rowing in adulthood, all contained experiences and lessons I continue to draw from to this day. Sports was an incredible vehicle for teaching me so many life lessons. In high school, I learned how to be a leader, as I was fortunate enough to be nominated as team captain for my senior year in golf, basketball, and track. In track and field, my most accomplished sport at Kiski, I learned how to lead by example, that my personal practice and determination was a competitive advantage, and could also set an example for my teammates. Rowing at Penn State brought me a whole other level of challenges and teamwork. Rowing is one of the most physically intense sports. The standard rowing race is 2,000 meters, an all-out sprint for about 7 minutes, in a boat with 7 other rowers, who all have to be in sync for every single one of the 250 odd strokes that make up that 7-minute race. Oars in the same position, going into the water at the same time, and pulling even power to efficiently move the boat down the water, or down the river, through wind, rain, and chop, and every once in a while, a calm, sunny day. When out of sync, rowing can be the most frustrating experience. The boat flops all over the place. Oars go into the water at different times and pull the boat unevenly. You can feel your own power being diminished by friction and unevenness. It makes everyone in the boat frustrated. And did I mention that rowers aren't allowed to talk in the boat even when you want to shout at everyone for rowing poorly? All that frustration pays off eventually with the pure bliss that you experience when you and your crew finally find that rhythm, when everyone just clicks. That feeling you get from being on the water, extending your body further than you thought possible, with a group of teammates all doing the same along with you, is magical. Of course, that magical feeling can be few and far between, especially early in rowing. When you aren't feeling that magic, it's a whole lot of struggle and frustration. That struggle to do better in myself, as well as work with teammates, taught me a lot about determination. I was privileged and lucky enough to not have much externally imposed struggle in my life. But sports helped me realize that the pursuit of a good and successful life requires struggle. It requires growth and perseverance, and it requires you to shut up even when you want to shout at everyone around you. That's honestly still a struggle. Sports provided me the inner strength to seek out and grow through struggle, to work through the obstacles in life, to learn how to pursue that synchronicity with those around me, even when the boat is rocky. It taught me a lot about how to get along with other people, that I could not actually change the way the person in front of me was rowing, but I could do my best to find all the ways that I was contributing to the boat's rockiness. True leadership happens by example. Kiski provided the foundation for me to build my athletic career, as well as my academic and business career. If not for the support of my parents, teachers, and coaches, I would not have had the fortitude to attempt to forge my own path and start my own business. I would not be able to tackle the challenges of speaking in public, pitching business to potential clients, and building a community of like-minded folks in my industry. I learned that many of my problems in athletics, life, and business can be tackled through practice, perseverance, and teamwork. As my career and life progress, athletics takes more of a backseat to running a business, but I will always have the lessons I learned during my athletic endeavors at Kiski, college, and beyond. I will always be able to pull from those, and for that I am forever grateful. Thank you.
Okay. Several people came up to me a little while ago and said, "You left somebody out." And I said, "No, I'm not totally senile yet. I made the mistake. Wasn't your fault, Sue, it was my fault. I had her listed to speak when she's going to speak now, but she was put in the program to go second. She was nice enough to say to me, I'll go wherever you want me to go." So our next inductee was from the class of 2006. Caitlin played basketball, tennis, soccer, and track and field. She earned 4 varsity letters at Kiski Area High School. In basketball, she won numerous awards as best defensive and offensive player on the team. During her 4 years in basketball, she scored over 1,000 points. That's quite an accomplishment. She went on to Northwood University on a basketball scholarship, and she scored over 1,000 points in college in 4 years at Northwood. Ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin Noble Black.
First of all, thank you to the Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame Committee. I am truly honored to be here tonight, being inducted alongside this amazing and talented group of athletes. There were many people who influenced me throughout my high school career. My teammates, although we may not have won many games, we did have a lot of fun together. A few of you are here tonight. I wouldn't be here without them today. There's one other person I'd like to thank. A lot of you may know her, Donna. She was our athletic trainer. Thanks to her, she put me back together both physically and mentally throughout my career here at Kiski. The 2 people, however, that have had the biggest impact on me are here with me tonight, my mom and dad. 5 minutes is not merely enough time to express my gratitude to the 2 of you and all that you have given up to allow my siblings and I to follow our dreams. From the start of my career at 9 years old, my dad pushed me to be the best that I could be and not settle for anything less. He showed me this through his passion for sports and example. When in 7th grade he felt we had outgrown YMCA basketball, he formed his own travel team so we could get out there and play other schools. We spent many nights practicing on the homemade court in our garage when we couldn't find a gym to practice in. This taught me perseverance. My dad was always in the stands and could always be heard. You were going to be yelled at no matter who you were. He did not discriminate. Although at the time I felt he was being overly hard on me, I am grateful for it now. He was pushing me because he knew my potential and wanted nothing more than for me to succeed on and off the court. The other half of this duo is my mother. She is my biggest supporter. Jokingly, she said, "Make sure you thank me for driving you to all your practices." While she was a great personal driver, there is so much more to thank you for. From cutting out every tiny box score and article with my name on it, to keeping track of all my stats, to being able to look up in the stands and know you were there. Thank you for always making sure I have what I needed. You two gave up a lot to allow me to travel around the country playing on an AAU team for college exposure. This paid off in the end with my full scholarship to play basketball at college. Without my parents, I would not be standing here today. This is as much their honor as it is mine. It is because of them that I went on to excel in my sport on the collegiate level and continue to strive to be the best in everything I do. I'm a strong believer that if you go out every day and give everything you got, you will never have any regrets. If you can look back and say without a doubt you did the absolute best that you can do, and this is the outcome, then you can only be proud of yourself. Basketball taught me this. I may not have been the fastest, strongest, or most talented, but one thing I knew was that I would work the hardest. That is what I strive for every practice, every game, and now every day in all that I do. Thank you.
You know, before we call up our last inductee here, like I said, I didn't forget Caitlin. And, you know, when we reach my age or older, you know, there's always talk about, are you losing it mentally? So you try to do things to stay sharp. And one of the things that I do to stay sharp is either crossword puzzles or jigsaw puzzles. My wife can attest to that. Several weeks ago, we were at Walmart, and I was walking down one of the aisles and came across some jigsaw puzzles, and I picked one out that I thought I could do. Usually it takes me a couple weeks to do these. So I put it in the basket, and we went to checkout, and she looked and she saw it, and she started to laugh. I said, what's the matter? She said, well, you'll find out when you get home. So, took the crossword puzzle or jigsaw puzzle, we got home, saw the box, so I started to put together. Like I said, most of the time it takes me about a week or two to put them together. Well, I did this in one day. So I put it together, and I was real proud of myself, and I called my wife out, and I said, look, I got this done in a couple hours. And she said, look at the box. I said, what? She said, look at the box. So I got the box out. She said, look at the bottom of the box. Yes. Look, this puzzle is for 2 to 4-year-olds. Sharp. Okay. Our last inductee is from the class of 2007. She earned 8 varsity letters in track and field and soccer. She finished in 3rd place at the state meet in javelin in 2006. In 2007, she was the WPL champion in the javelin. She was Kiski Area Female Athlete of the Year in 2007. She went on to Pitt University on a track scholarship. She competed and was very successful in throwing the javelin in college. Ladies and gentlemen, Leah Ulizio.
Thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate Kiski Area's newest Sports Hall of Fame inductees. Anthony Nicholas and Sue Hartford, thank you for organizing such a memorable event. And fellow congrats to all the inductees, especially old teammates Lauren and Lauren. Nice to see you girls again. What a wonderful evening here at Oakmonds Creek Social Hall. I'd like to share something with you. Ironically, directly 1 block behind us, here on California and 2nd Street, I spent 8 years living in my 3rd-story attic apartment following nursing school. So it's nice to be back in the neighborhood on such a nice occasion. I look back at the fond memories of my high school career. My day never ended with the last bell. In preparation of the fall season, soccer started with grueling conditioning. Coach Tim Sherrick was relentless. And what do you know, with all the quality training, perseverance, endless dedication, our team won back-to-back section titles, Kiski Area's first ever in girls varsity soccer. My track and field career, on the other hand, developed out of surprise to me. Freshman year, I was running the 800 and 1600 meter with Coach Argrass over there. All right. However, coaches Tom Brzonski and Larry Signetti needed a javelin thrower. Sorry, George. I went from running distance to going the distance with the javelin. My favorite memories were made traveling to invitationals, competing and winning the Whippules, placing at states and celebrating PRs amongst coaches and teammates. Personal success in the javelin earned me a 4-year scholarship at the University of Pittsburgh, where I continued my journey in athletics while pursuing a career in nursing. Overall, my participation and achievements in high school sports has built a foundation for success in all aspects of my life. It has taught respect, leadership, sportsmanship, team building, discipline, a sense of community, all attributes that not only can be used positively in the workplace, but in everyday life encounters. So I want to thank all the coaches, teammates, teachers, especially my parents, Mary and Jeff, for all their love and support over the years. I'm truly honored to become a member of Kiski Area Sports Hall of Fame and proud to forever be a Kiski Cavalier. Thank you.
Okay, before we wrap it up here, wasn't this a great group? How about a real nice hand of applause for us? A couple thank yous before we finish. First of all, I want to thank the chef and I, the catering. Got a lot of compliments as I was walking through here tonight about the food, so we want to thank them. I want to thank Ed for filming this for us tonight. Also, special thank you to my sister Claudia for her help with the preparation for all this. For my wife Shelley for putting up with me while I was pulling my hair out the last couple of days, making sure this was going to be okay. So I want to thank you, and again, I want to thank all of you for coming as well. We really appreciate your support. At this time, I'm going to call Frank Gatis up to do the benediction, so would you all stand, please?
This evening, before we leave, I'm going to put the Old Testament blessing upon you that the priest blessed the congregation with from the book of Nehemiah. The last sentence of my blessing, however, is from all of us here to you. It is not found in the book of Nehemiah, but it is quite appropriate. The Lord bless and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And may his light shine in your hearts as you so shine in our hearts. Amen.
Okay, that wraps up our program. Have a safe drive home, and again, thank you for coming.